You are designed to walk. But if you're feeling stiff and robotic as you move throughout your day, chances are you could use a tune-up in your gait cycle. Even just a small improvement in every step that you take can pay huge dividends down the line. So whether you're taking 2,000 steps a day or 20,000 steps a day, this video is for you. Stick around. The gait cycle and the biomechanics of how you walk can get pretty complex. So instead of breaking down every little detail of that, I'm gonna provide you with 3 simple exercises that are gonna train your body to take your steps with more confidence, more connection, and more ease. You can practice these exercises on their own, and I also recommend doing these as a primer before you go on a walk. This allows you to tap into connection through the gait pattern, so you can go out there and simply just walk, log those reps, and improve with every single step. The first exercise is the traveling chi twist. This is gonna allow us to feel into that weight transfer. So notice, as I take that step forward, my weight comes more onto this side, and I'm starting to also feel into this spiral or coiling mechanism that allows me to load through the foot all the way up into the hip, and then continue to feel that energy transfer through the spine as well. When you see me from the side, that twist is gonna propel me into the next step. It's a little more exaggerated than your gait cycle, but that's fine. We're working on that pattern that applies. So just moving back and forth, eyes on the horizon. We want a little hinge there so you can activate the backside of your body. And then as you're going through this, really drive through that front leg, which then becomes the back leg, right? So I like incorporating that front to back because 1, we can work on this in a small space, and then 2, if you lose that back side, you're gonna know right away. So watch me as I'm traveling back. So I step back and I rotate away from that leg. If I start to come up like this, right, I'm losing my cheeks. I'm losing that power and that support from the pelvis, from the glutes. So just stay in that little baby hinge, eyes forward, and then just working on that spiral. When you apply this to your walk, you take that step. It's subtle, but notice that same pattern, right? I'm rotating into the front leg. This head is gonna slightly come over onto this side of the body. I drive through that foot, and then I'm on the next side. I wanna make sure that as I do that, my eyes are forward and my hips are just back a little bit, so I'm able to drive forward. Exercise number 2, the chi ball walk. I have a ball here. You don't necessarily need one. You can imagine it, but I do find the ball to be helpful. It can be any sized ball. So what I'm gonna do is, from this position in the center, I'm gonna take a step forward, and I'm going to slide or spin this hand on top of the ball, reaching that elbow out, and then pulling the other elbow back. So what you're gonna notice is, again, I'm feeling a little bit of that rotation. It's not just through the upper body, right? I'm feeling that action through my pelvis. I'm feeling that load pattern through that glute and through that leg. Now, from this position, I'm going to take a step forward, right? And I'm gonna switch sides, spinning the hand on the top. I can travel backwards, same thing. And notice that action here, right? I'm reaching through the elbow, I'm pulling back through the other. I've also got this pivot. It's not so much a spin. There is a little spin action, but think of it as more of a drive through, right? So as I press through that foot, that's allowing me to now load on this side. So I like this one at chest height because I can kind of throw that elbow and feel into that spiral action through the whole body. But know that you could also keep it a little bit lower. That might be a little bit better at first for incorporating that action through the pelvis, right? If I'm up here, maybe I'm getting a little bit too much through the rib cage, whereas I feel my belly button, right, pointing in that direction It's going to allow for that spiral pattern. So again, just back and forth. If you got a little bit more room, you could also take this out on the street. If you lose the ball, right, it's the same thing. I've just got an imaginary ball. I've got it at my belly button or right here at the heart, and I'm able to feel into that action, loading into this side, and then, right, loading into this side. Lastly, number 3, the paint can walk. I'm going to use 2 kettlebells, 8 kilo bells for this. Know that you can use any set of dumbbells. I'd start pretty light with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stride forward with that right foot. When we go into that, start to rotate into that leg a little bit. Notice how the bell in my left hand comes in front of the left thigh, and then the bell in my right hand comes right back behind the right leg. So same thing here. I'm getting a little bit more load through the body. And then as I take that next step, I'm going to notice that switch, okay? The rotation's not massive through the rib cage, not a ton of side bend here. We want to stay in that column, right? Stay through that center rotation. Feel that. I take that stride. I take that stride. So I could travel backwards. Again, if you got a little bit more runway, I do find that doing this just forward is going to give you a ton of engagement through that gait cycle. And you don't have to force the weight there, right? Just trust through the step as you drive through the foot. Eyes on the horizon. And then a small amount of rotation. Focus a little bit more on stability. This goes for all the exercises before you start to really ramp up the rotation, because we want to feel that all the way through the feet, up through essentially the base of your skull, all right? So once you get a better feel for this, you can start to pick up that tempo and maybe walk with a little bit more pace. Another thing you can do is that shoulder dip and side bend, right? So I dip the shoulder and then I scoop up through. I scoop up through. And this is going to involve a lot more control. Traveling back's a little bit tougher. I'm already getting out of whack, right? So work on that traveling forward where you're loading on this side, that circles up through, that takes you into the next step, takes you into the next step. Continue to drive through the feet. Again, traveling backwards. I'm going a little too quick in the video. So just focus on going forward, right? And this will get that spine involved, but also honor that stability. Because, and of course, you can do this stuff without weights, but one thing I notice is we can start to get a little out of sorts with our movement outside that midline. So the weights can help ground you in that process. Do know that you can always take this same action, right? A little bit more swag, a little bit more bounce. Is this the perfect biomechanics? Probably not, but I feel really good when I'm doing it. I feel a little bit more bounce, load into the next step, unload, boom, 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 boom. And after dropping the weights down and doing that, I'm feeling connected, but also really light with my movement. Like I'm able to harness that whole spiral into the next step. Boom, 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 boom. Know that these exercises are more about feeling into your gait pattern. So I want you to focus on that. Use these exercises on their own to feel into that pattern. Use them as a primer before you go on walks. And also take walks, log those reps, continue to improve with each and every step. You don't have to think about it, just feel it. That's all I've got for you in this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how it went for you in the comments below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Stay smooth.